Take a look at this picture. It may look like just a group of players, but trust me, these are not ordinary men. They're football legends. On the left, that's Macdonald Mariga, the first Kenyan ever to play in the UEFA Champions League, history maker. On the far right, we have Dennis Oliech. Many still call him Kenya's greatest striker of all time. He was fast, fearless, and his goals gave this country unforgettable moments. Standing right next to him is Victor Wanyama, the first Kenyan to ever feature in the English Premier League. And yes, he's the man behind that thunderbolt goal for Tottenham against Liverpool that fans still talk about today. And right at the center of it all is Musa Otieno, another giant of the game. But for today's story, we'll focus on two names, Dennis Oliech and Victor Wanyama. So, what really happened to them after football? Let's begin with the menace himself, Dennis Oliech. To many, he's still the best striker Kenya has ever produced, and without doubt the most accomplished. His journey began back in high school, first at Kakamega High and later at Kamukunji High in Nairobi. And honestly, he wasn't there for books, he was there for one mission only, football. By just 16 years old, Dennis was already playing for Mathare United, earning about 16,000 shillings a month.
Kakamega High School mzee umeingia, kidogo umetoka Kamukunji. At Form 2 mzee, uko Mathare United.
Yes.
I was earning 18,000 when I was in Form 2.
What?
Not bad for a teenager in early 2000s Kenya, right? Then came 2002. At just 17, Oliech made his debut for the Harambee Stars. That same year, he lit up the Sikafa Cup. Even though he came in mostly as a substitute, he scored 5 goals and carried Kenya to win the trophy for the first time in 19 years. Can you imagine? A teenager breaking a 2-decade drought for the whole nation. Scouts noticed. And in 2003, Qatar's Al Arabi Sports Club signed him up. But here's a fun fact. Before Qatar, French giants Marseille had wanted him, but the deal was blocked back home. Still, destiny wasn't going to be stopped. By 19, Dennis was already shining in Qatar. At one point, his club refused a 1 billion shilling offer from Monaco. Yes, 1 billion shillings. That's how valuable he had become. In 2004, the Guardian newspaper even listed him among the world's most promising young players, right alongside Wayne Rooney and Robin van Persie. That's how big Dennis Oliech was. But his most iconic moment? 2003, Kasarani Stadium, Kenya versus Cape Verde. The 84th minute, Oliech scores the winning goal, and Kenya qualifies for the 2004 Africa Cup of Nations. Fans still call it one of the most historic goals in our football history. After that, he signed a 4-year deal with FC Nantes in France, worth about $3.7 million, roughly 281 million shillings. He later featured for clubs like Ajaccio in Ligue 1 and Dubai CSC in the UAE. And with Ajaccio, he even became the second Kenyan to play in the UEFA Champions League. During his peak in Qatar, Dennis was even offered 200 million shillings to switch nationality and play for Qatar under the Arabic name Farahad Mazad.
So they just surprised me by offering me the passport to play for their country because I was named Arabic name Farahad Mesad.
So that was your name?
Yeah.
So, tell me again?
Farahad Mesad.
Ikiwa hiyo pesa utapewa sasa,
Sahi naweza chukua. Unajua kwa nini?
utawachana na Kenya?
Wewe unajua mbona? Kenya our recognize my legend. Unaelewa? Not only football. Kuna watu wa mbio, kuna watu wa basket, kuna watu wa
Boxing.
But he refused. He chose Kenya over money. And that decision right there cemented his place, not just as a football hero, but as a true patriot. And that's just the beginning. Encouraging, warm, and that decision right there cemented his place, not just as a football hero, but as a true patriot. At the height of his career, with millions rolling in, Oliech lived large. He had a taste for luxury, fast cars, sleek apartments, and the kind of lifestyle that screamed success. In 2011, reports say he splashed his money on a brand new Chrysler 300C, and just a few years later, in 2015, he made headlines again when he imported a Porsche Macan Turbo worth nearly 11 million shillings. Some even went as far as claiming he owned a private jet that same year, though whether that was true or not, it shows how big his image had become. But here's the thing, people don't remember Dennis Oliech for the flashy cars, the parties, or the lifestyle. They remember him for what he did on the pitch. He wasn't just a player, he was an icon, a national hero, and a role model for an entire generation of young footballers in Kenya. For over a decade, Oliech wore the captain's armband for the Harambee Stars, leading from the front and leaving his mark as Kenya's all-time top scorer. Then, in 2019, to the surprise of many, he returned home and signed with Gor Mahia on a 2-year contract. With a salary of 350,000 shillings per month, he instantly became the highest-paid footballer in Kenya at the time. In his spell at Gor, he made 19 appearances and netted 5 goals, proof that even towards the end, he still had that striker's instinct. But here's where the story takes a bittersweet turn. After everything he had given to Kenyan football, his retirement in 2020 passed almost unnoticed. No farewell match, no nationwide celebrations, just a quiet announcement. Unlike the big send-offs you see in Europe or South America, where legends are honored like kings, Oliech's exit came with silence. For many fans, That was heartbreaking, a painful reminder of how Kenya often forgets its heroes too quickly. Over the years, rumors began to swirl that Dennis Oliech had gone broke, living in financial struggles. But the truth was very different and much more emotional. Oliech himself revealed that he had spent over 124 million shillings on hospital bills while caring for his late mother. On top of that, he poured millions more into trying to save his brother, Kevin Oliech, who tragically passed away from cancer in 2020. So while critics painted a picture of wastefulness, the reality was that Oliech had sacrificed his fortune for family, and that in itself says a lot about his character. Even so, Oliech didn't walk away empty-handed. He made wise investments during his career. Reports suggest he owns real estate properties in Nairobi and beyond. He also runs the famous Mama Oliech restaurant, a family business started by his late mother, which has become a household name in Nairobi. Today, Oliech is no longer chasing goals on the pitch, but he hasn't stopped giving back to the game. He has been actively mentoring young players, openly speaking about the challenges of Kenyan football, and even launching the Dennis Oliech Cup, a grassroots tournament designed to give talented kids from disadvantaged backgrounds a platform to shine.
Sahi kazi vile kapi iko ni corona ni kazi hakuna, so watu wanaibana ni kwa manyumba. So ndo kama na nimeanzisha hii tournament ndo ni mayuth wapate ni kitu ya kufanya, na pia maybe kuna Dennis Oliech maybe anaweza tokea hapo. So next time pia nataka hii tournament ikuwe ni ya wanawake.
And recognition finally came.
Favorite, maybe because of my track record, the history of top goal scorer, na maybe mimi ndo nimecheza game mingi za Kenyan, alafu tunafuata na Musa Otieno. And pia me, I was a discipline, I was captain for 10 years. So I think I'm the best candidate at this generation. Because me ndo the last wa kuretire. So I think mi ndio nina of course iko watu wengi, the former legend ni wengi, but of course one has to be chosen. So mimi ndo amechagua and I'm happy.
This year, Oliech was unveiled as Kenya's ambassador for the 2024 African Nations Championship. At last, the government officially honoured him, reminding everyone that despite the ups and downs, Oliech will forever remain Kenya's all-time top scorer and one of the greatest to ever wear the Harambee Stars jersey. But of course, Dennis Oliech isn't the only Kenyan footballer to carve out a legendary career. There's another name that shines just as bright, Macdonald Mariga. Mariga made history as the first Kenyan to not only play, but actually win the UEFA Champions League. His journey also started at Kamukunji High School, a breeding ground for football talent in Kenya. From there, he joined Ulinzi Stars, later moving to Tusker FC, and then Kenya Pipeline in 2003. It didn't take long before European scouts spotted his talent. In 2005, he made the bold leap to Sweden, signing for a second division side called Enkopings SK. Just a year later, he was snapped up by Helsingborg's IF, where his performances caught international attention. At one point, English club Portsmouth were ready to sign him for about €2.7 million. Unfortunately, the move collapsed because of work permit issues, a common challenge for many African players at the time. Still, Mariga never gave up. In 2007, he finally made it to the big stage when Italian side Parma brought him in, first on loan and then permanently. He quickly became a key player, even helping the club secure promotion to Serie A during the 2008-2009 season. And then came January 2010, a moment when Mariga was on the verge of a career-defining move. Manchester City, yes, the Premier League giants, wanted to sign him, but the deal collapsed. Not because of talent, but because Kenya's FIFA ranking was too low at the time, making it difficult to secure a UK work permit.
Work permit ni ngumu kupata. Sababu ya hii mambo ya ranking ya FIFA. Wow.
So nikaenda nikasainiwa na makochi wote huko Italy. Wakauni ni kijana yuko sawa, yuko talented, yuko na discipline, kila kitu, lakini hatukufaulu.
Waliweka petition
kila kitu.
Mashallah.
Sasa hapo ikakuwa haiwezekani.
At the time, world football was brutally competitive, and FIFA rankings mattered. Unfortunately for Kenya, the national team's low ranking cost McDonald Mariga the chance to sign for Manchester City in 2010. Had that deal gone through, Mariga would have been the first Kenyan ever to play in the English Premier League, but history had other plans. That milestone would later be achieved by his younger brother, Victor Wanyama. More on him in a moment. For Mariga, fate worked out in an incredible way. Just weeks after the Manchester City deal fell apart, he signed with none other than Jose Mourinho's Inter Milan, one of Europe's most dominant teams at the time. It was a blessing in disguise, because in March 2010, Mariga didn't just play in the UEFA Champions League, he made history as the first Kenyan ever to appear in the competition. And then came the ultimate moment. He lifted the Champions League trophy itself. the famous cup nicknamed Big Ears because of its massive handles. No other Kenyan had ever done it, and to this day Mariga remains the only Kenyan footballer to have won the most prestigious club trophy in the world. After Inter, Mariga's career took him across Europe. He played for clubs like Real Sociedad in Spain, Latina Calcio in Italy, and Real Oviedo in Spain again, before finally winding down his career at a lower-tier Italian club called Cuneo. But in 2012, disaster struck. Mariga suffered a serious knee injury, the kind that can change a footballer's life in seconds. He underwent surgery and spent 7 long months on the sidelines. When he finally returned, he was never quite the same. The speed, the power, the unstoppable energy that once defined him, much of it had been taken away. From then on, his career became a cycle of short contracts, loans and transfers. He still played, but the Mariga fans had known the unstoppable force was gone. After football, Mariga shocked many when he switched to politics. In 2019, he contested for the Kibra parliamentary seat. After the death of the sitting MP, Ken Okoth, he lost to Imran Okoth, Ken's brother. But Mariga wasn't ready to quit. He tried again in the 2022 general elections, this time running against his former teacher from Kamukunji High School, Peter Orero. Once again, he lost. Still, leadership was in his blood. In 2024, he re-emerged, not in government politics but in football politics. Mariga teamed up with Hussein Mohammed in the Football Kenya Federation elections, running as his deputy. This time he won, becoming the FKF vice president. Today, Mariga is fighting for the sport he loves. He has taken a strong stance against match fixing, calling it a crime that should carry jail time and lifetime bans.